So you've joined a new team, you've got no knowledge about them whatsoever, you've got no idea about a league. Where do you start and how do you know how good your squad is compared to the rest? Let's take a look. Hi, I'm Matt, and coming up on today's video, I am going to show you how you should start to get a little bit of a deeper look at a new club when you first start at an unknown football club or league in Football Manager. So many people default to going to the home page, going straight to the team setup itself to look at the squad individually. And actually, whilst you might think that's the best idea to do, let me tell you why it isn't. So as you can see, this is my squad with Manchester 62. Quick tip, we do stream this most nights on Twitch. Come and join us for a quick look of how we're developing Gibraltar. That aside, people default to going straight to the team page to look at their squad and feel, look at the positions that they've got. As you can see, I've filtered down there, the size of the squad, the star ratings, and let me hang on that point. Everybody starts to get a little bit more, dare I say, biased towards star ratings in the squad. Look who's got the ability, the best current, the best potential, and so on and so forth. Filter it whichever way you feels best. That is not the way to do it. You see, star ratings are only relative to the players that you've got at the squad, right? So for example, last season I had about 5 loanees in from various Premier League teams, and the quality was much better than what I've got now. So all these 3.5-star players here, like Bryce Segura, Osman Diarra, they were 3-star players maximum. The same with some of the the wide players, the forwards. The point I'm making is it's relative to the squad that you've got. So now them players have gone back to their parents' clubs, as you can imagine, the overall squad ability is diminished ever so slightly, which means that the individuals look better on star ratings. Are you with me? Let's not worry about that though. I'm not here to talk about star ratings. I'm here to talk about this page here, which is the squad planner comparison. Now, what this page does for you is essentially compares your team and varying different selected attributes that you want to look at across the rest of the teams in your league. For example, if I have just started at this club in Gibraltar and I had no idea about them whatsoever, I would come here first to look at where do my core attributes balance and sort of like compete, let's call it, against the rest of the core attributes of the teams in our league. So, for example, if I come into here, I go to Squad Planner, I go to Report and go to Comparison like you've just seen me do. It will default to all positions here, and we'll just throw out some attribute tables here for us to look at. What it will do is it will take the average attribute number that we have in our squad and compare it to the other clubs in our league and give us a ranking. So for example, I've been developing this squad for years now, so it's no surprise that a lot of these are going to be top of the table. But for example, if I look at for all positions in my club right now, for teamwork attribute that you can just see popping behind my camera right there, I am second in the overall league of attributes for teamwork at 10.83 overall. Whereas Europa Point, a competing squad in our league, are at 11.31. So you're probably thinking, Matt, what has this got to do with finding out what my squad's about? Let me show you. It is then in here, you can then select individual parts of the pitch, i.e. defence, midfield, attack, and you can then start to look down, okay, positionally, what are the core attributes that your positions would need and where are they pitched? For example, you can see that my defenders, core attributes to defenders, marking, positioning, jumping, heading, tackling, you can see that I'm behind the curve here, right, in terms of averages. So, for example, tackling, I'm third overall in the attributes for tackling at 12.43, whereas Europa FC are top at 13.2. So, when I'm in a transfer market right now, clearly I know that whilst I think I've got better defenders than a lot, actually I'm lacking probably 3 core attributes there for defenders, because I'm third overall for jumping reach, I'm second overall for heading, and I'm third for tackling. So if I flick straight back to my squad team, you can see here, Jamie Victor, our young club captain, he's a 3.5-star player. So I'm thinking, wow, that's a great player for us. We could build around him. Maybe not, because actually, if you look at this, whilst he may well be over some of the attribute averages that I've just shared there, clearly, I'm still overall weaker than 2 other or 3 other teams in the league in defensive attributes. I can then do the same for midfielders, as you can see here. Again, a midfield attribution, you want to be looking at sort of passing, your vision, teamwork, even technique and decision making. Now, luckily, the majority of these, I'm the highest on the average, but there's still some work to do here. So you can see that I'm lacking behind stamina, only slightly, being second behind Lincoln. And the same again for teamwork, I'm ever so slightly behind, 10.94 overall versus 11, which is a Europa point, who are top. So you can start to see now where I then might start to look at my shortlist, my scouting, and I'm trying to improve individual attributes to try and then compete and basically show that whilst I might have the best star ability in the league, the attributes are what contribute to the match engine in the main, and I have got areas where I'm lacking. You can do the same again for strikers, but what gets really interesting is when you can get your whole squad and look then for physicality. So let's take goalkeepers out of it. Look how physical the team is. So I think I've done a good job in basically developing physical attributes over the years that I've been in this club. I'm lacking ever so slightly. I'm third in jumping reach and I'm second in natural fitness. But overall, I'm doing really well physically. Mentally, again, there's some work to do in leadership. That's partly because I've got such a young team. But look at this aggression. I mean, I'm third there. That's kind of good, right? Aggression, as you may or may not know, does not mean that your player's more likely to get sent off and get into trouble. There's a lot. I can go into all the attributes in detail, but I'm not going to do that now. But basically, low aggression isn't always a bad thing. And lastly, technical ability. As you can see, we are lacking in tackling. We are 5th. Now, luckily for us, because we're such a good footballing team, we rarely need to tackle. That said, that is something on my radar to try and improve in this current transfer window that I'm in right now. But look at this. This is the best way to get to know your squad. If you're coming in to a new team and you want to know exactly where you are pitched against the rest of the teams around your league, if it's a league that you know nothing about, the Squad Planner Comparison tab is the only place you should be looking. And what that enables you to do is actually go into the scouting market, into the scouting window and just look for players that have got them key attributes. So if, let's just say I've got my shortlist, right? Let's completely filter it and clear it down. And I want to go in here and I want to look at key attributes. So I know key attributes I'm missing. Jumping reach isn't one of my highest. Neither is heading, neither is tackling. Now, if I want to say I want that at least 15, because that's a really incredible high stat for us here in this league, I click OK. Look at that. No one on my shortlist has got that ability. So I now need to double down on my scouting and recruitment focus to get that in. I can come into here and just sort of like lower these slightly. As you can see, I've lowered it to 14 overall. I found one player, Lorenzo Della Valle. So I can come into here and I know that that player, based on the averages, is improving my overall attribution in the squad. So again, I can, double down on my scouting there, maybe sort of offer him to loan or transfer. You know the drift. You get the gist. And how do you use scouting to try and really get in the detail of some of the areas where you're lacking? And it's in the further details tab. So if I come to this, let's for example say that I am, as you saw before on the defensive page, I was lacking jumping reach and tackling, for example. Now, whilst I can't go into the analysis tab, if I go into further details and go to add, I can come down to analysis and stats. If I go to defending, for example, I can't specifically say, go and look for a guy that's got 15 jumping reach, 15 heading. What I can do is look for some analytical data behind that. So I've selected, I want to find a centre back that's got high statistical performance in key tackles, headers won, and the headers won ratio. And what that will enable me to do is hopefully close them gaps that I've got in my squad planner analysis page to improve the team based on statistical match day attributes. And just like that, you've joined a new club, you had no idea about any of the competition in your league, or even how strong your squad really is, and you found out how it compares to the rest, where your gaps are, and how to scout players to close them gaps and improve even further. For more Football Manager tips, or even just to watch along and help us to watch us develop this team to a Gibraltar powerhouse, come on down to Twitch and follow along for the story. If you've liked that, follow along and subscribe. Drop me a comment down below for any videos you want to see. And thank you very much for watching. See you later.